Hi. So this is the second time attempting to do this video. Something happened last time, so a little bit of a delay here. But yeah, I think it does seem like it's good to go. I think I need to update some things, but hopefully this will work before I have to do that. I'm just going to move quickly so Jasper calms down and we can get down to work. Okay. Well, you get a little bit of a window into my life with the parrot, all his fun noises. Just going to go ahead and pause this for a moment. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to get back to this game here. So this is Prep Test 75, Game 3. We've got 7 librarians. These are going to be our players. Okay, F, G, H, L, M, and, oh, what did I miss? K. So, all right, 7 of them. Right, and they're being scheduled for desk duty for 1 week, but the week is Monday through Saturday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, meaning we only have, means, we only have 6 days, right? 6 days, 7 players. We are going to have 2 on duty on Saturday. Okay, so that's how we're going to end up with our 7. So, chicken. So these 2 days here at the end, both Saturday, and yeah, we can just kind of pretend that that actually matches up, or we can do that there. Okay, so that'll work. Okay, so Hill has to be on desk duty earlier in the week than L is. H and M are both earlier than G. Okay, so M and H are both going to be before G. So how do I want to do this? Do M, G, and then draw a little line to show that H is also before G. Okay. F has to be earlier than K and M. So that would mean that F has to be before M up there. And then we also have K. Okay. And we're going to need some lines. Okay. So F is before both of those guys. Move F a little that way so we can see it a bit better. All right. K is earlier than Z. So I'm going to pull up that and have, open that up a little bit. K is before Z. All right, and then we have our condition here at the end. I would note that all 7 of the players are represented in this diagram. Okay, so that's good to know, but then we do have this conditional rule. So the word unless is equivalent to if not. So if it's not true that L is on desk duty on Saturday, so if L is not on Saturday, then L must be earlier than F. Okay, and then the contrapositive would be if it's not true that L is before F, if in fact L is not before F, meaning L is after F in this scenario because they can't be tied, right? So if L isn't before F, L has to be after F. In this scenario, because they can't be tied, that's the way that it's going to work. So, I mean, I suppose they could be tied in the sense that they could both be on Saturday. No, never mind. Sorry, that's not true. F can't be on Saturday because there are too many players that have to be after it. So there's no way for them to be tied. The only potential for any two players in this game to be tied is if they're both on Saturday. But since F can't be on Saturday, that's not an option for F and L. Okay, so if F is before L, right, being the negation of this statement here, right? So I can flip and negate here to create the contrapositive. And then the negation of L is not on S is that L is on S. So L is on Saturday. Okay, that's what S is there. So maybe I just want to distinguish that just to make sure that I'm not thinking that S is another player, right? S is a position. Okay, so I think the conditional rule is probably the most challenging one in this game. And I think one of the elements that makes this game more challenging than some other sequencing games would be that we do have two players on one day. So that's a bit odd, right? The first question, we should be able to answer just going rule by rule. So Hill has to be before Liang. So H, L, H, L, H, H, oh, okay. So E is out based on that rule. Gotta get my mouse back. Okay. Next one, both H and M have to be on desk duty earlier than G. So I have to see H and M before I see G. H, H, M, H, M, G. Okay, that rule isn't broken by any of these. F is earlier than K and M. So F, F. Oh, no, that's not going to work. Okay. K earlier than Z. So D is out. And then we do have to apply our final rule there. So if L isn't on Saturday, now in A, L is on Saturday. So this rule isn't going to apply. But in B, L is not on Saturday. So L has to be earlier than Flynn, which isn't true there. So B breaks the last rule. A is the correct answer. Click show answer just to double check here. And we can move on. Sometimes nice to write out that solution, right? So we do have just one acceptable solution that we can kind of hold on to for our bank of acceptable solutions. Okay, great. Get my mouse back and keep it moving. All right, so question 13, which one of the following cannot be on desk duty on Tuesday? So Tuesday is the second day. So I would be looking for players that can't be second. And I would go up here and I would be looking for players that have, more than two players that have to be ahead of them. So Z and G definitely stand out to me as players that can't be second. In fact, I think they are the only players that can't be second in this game. So the correct answer has to be either Z or G based on my little web diagram here. So if you are struggling to interpret web diagrams, I do have a few videos, dealing with sequencing games, but yeah, you'd be looking for sequencing games where you have relative position rules. So H is earlier than L, that's a relative position rule, or at least that's what I call it, where one player's position is limited relative to another player's position. Okay, so rather than talking about the players like absolute positions, so Hill is in week 2 or something like that, we only know Hill's position relative to another player, and we have to make deductions based on that. So if you have a bunch of those rules, those are good ones to practice with creating these little web diagrams and making deductions based off of that. Okay. If K is on desk duty earlier in the week than M, then which one of the following cannot be true? So if K is earlier than M, so up here, they both just have to be after F, and they both have a player that has to be after them. But now, knowing that K is earlier than M, what would we say? So K, M, so F is going to be on this side, right? G is definitely going to be on this side of them. Z as well, right, is going to be on that side. We don't know about H and L. We just know that H is before L and H is also before G. Okay, so what can't be true? Can F be earlier in the week than L? Yeah, still definitely possible there. Okay, so no real relationship between F and L. Okay. G earlier in the week than K. And so we can see from this diagram that that's not possible. So if K is before M, M is before G, therefore K is before G, and B cannot be true. Moving right along, and I'm going to go ahead and just erase that, right? We don't need that anymore. That was question specific. Okay, so if Z is on desk duty on Thursday, so that would be 4th place. And then we have Friday, and then we have our 2 Saturday spots. Okay, so if Z is on desk duty on Thursday, then which one of the following must be true? So let's figure out what we can deduce. We do know that F and K are going to be on the left side of Z, so we have to have room for them there. M could be over here, H could be over here as well, but we do know that that G and L are going to be on the other side for sure. So F and K will be before Z, and after Z, we can say for sure that we will have G and L, and then maybe M or H, right? Okay. So what must be true? F is on desk duty earlier in the week than L. Yes, that must be true. Okay, because F has to be on the left side of Z and L has to be on the right side. If M is on desk duty on Tuesday, so Tuesday is day 2, M has to have F before it, so F would have to be first, right? So let's see what consequences of that would be. So we would have FM and then all the rest of our spots. Okay. This is going to trigger the contrapositive of that last rule. So if F is before L, then L must be on Saturday. So what must be true? The correct answer is that L has to be on desk duty on Saturday. Okay, so this one is directly testing whether you created the contrapositive correctly for that last rule. Okay, because from the fact that M is on Tuesday, we can deduce that F is on Monday. F being on Monday means it necessarily has to be before L because it has to be before everyone. It's on the first day. And the consequence of that is that L is on Saturday. And like I said, that's from the contrapositive. All right, if F is on desk duty earlier in the week than H, once again, they're testing us on the contrapositive. So if F is before H, F also must be before L, therefore L is on Saturday. Okay, if L is on Saturday, that means every other player has to be earlier than it, unless it's also on Saturday. So G or Z could be on Saturday with L, but none of the other players could because they have to have at least one player after them. If F is on desk duty earlier in the week than H, which of the following must be true? Well, it must be true that F is before L. It must be true that L is on Saturday. It must be true that K and M are earlier in the week than L. Okay, D is the correct answer. 18 is a substitution question, right? I'd say the most challenging question type. Okay, which one of the following, if substituted for the constraint that F must be on desk duty earlier in the week than both K and M, would have the same effect in determining the schedule for the librarians? So F before K and M, if I were to just take a moment to circle that rule in our main diagram, it's really connected to other stuff, right? So F is before K and M, but F is also before Z and G. So the only players that can be earlier than F are H and L, and every other player has to be after F in this diagram. This is actually a type of substitution question that is it comes up, so there's a version of this for other sequencing games that have substitution questions. I would actually recommend that if you have access to Law Hub, which if you don't, I definitely recommend that you get access to it and make use of that resource. It's really valuable. And maybe you have another resource that lets you look at a lot of tests, right? I think Law Hub is probably the best value really that you're going to get, and it's like identical to what you're going to see on any of the tests that are administered remotely and digitally. Even if we do go back to in person at some point, the platform, the interface is still going to look the same as Law Hub, because that's what it's looked like what it has looked like sorry, ever since they went digital. So anyways, I would recommend just searching for substitution questions. So what you can do is you can go through tests, prep tests number 60 and up. There might be one or two in the 50s. I can't recall right now, but just go through the game sections on Law Hub. The game section is always section 1, and then just click through to look at the last question of each game to see if that's a substitution question. You're going to get typically one substitution question per section of games, so one per test. And start to look for patterns. So if you're at a point where you feel like you're doing quite well in games, and you're consistently getting 3 of the games within the time limit and things like that, and you really do want to work on substitution questions, you want that extra point, just do all of those substitution questions and look for these patterns, and you will notice that there is a pattern with this particular type of game when you have a substitution question. So anyways, I will stop going on about that, but the correct answer here is C. Okay, and I know I went through this one a little bit faster than normal, but yeah, if there are any points that you want me to clarify with specific questions you'd like me to go over, or specific answer choices that you'd either like me to eliminate or to explain further why that's the correct answer, how I arrived at that answer, do let me know. But yeah, I mean, you can always kind of pause and go back and kind of listen to my my explanation of how I got there, even if it's brief, and then see if you can kind of work your way backwards to understand what exactly I mean by that, and how you can apply that further. So yeah, keep digging, keep trying to understand as deeply as you can, and yeah, let me know what other games you would like me to demonstrate. Right, have a good one.